What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and without any further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So it's a little bit chilly here. We're gonna kind of walk around and I'm gonna show you some stuff that we've been working on. Pretty proud. Our rabbit tree is finally starting to come together. For those of you that didn't see the other video, it's our mulcher, and we're gonna also be working once our mulch area kind of gets set. We're also going to be working on our mushroom area, which will be right back here. As you can see, we kind of got some stuff started, but we'll get to that later. Today is mostly going to be about rabbits, so it's kind of hard to see. I'll do a little bit of a walk around, but essentially, so it's that time of year. Everyone has rabbits from shows. They've gotten their money. They need to get rid of the rabbits. They're out of feed. So we are placing them, and we're getting these rabbits for free, essentially. So we do pay for some of them if we can, but generically speaking, we just don't, because we don't have that kind of cash. So we've gotten a total of 6 free, and we bought 2 of them. So our Tamuks, they're not really Tamuks. That's just where they were bred, but we're gonna call them our Tamuks, Blanco and Two-Face here. So you see Two-Face, we bought those guys. Got a pretty good deal on them to kind of help get us started. But now we are up to 6 Californians. They're all kind of hanging out. Oh, where'd y'all go? Oh, there's one. There's a couple. So, essentially, oh, there's another one. Essentially what we're going to do is right now, oops, there's another one. Essentially right now what we're trying to do is, this is about a 250 square foot area in our rabbit tree. And Blanco and Two-Face, our Tamuks, were not accustomed to more than one rabbit. So when we added a Californian female, they got very defensive, very territorial. Yes, rabbits are territorial, but that's not something we want them to be doing regularly. They need to deal with multiple rabbits, because ultimately this is a meat production area. So we will have upwards of 24 rabbits. So that's our cap. We're not going to go over that. If we have too many, we will cull prior. But ultimately, our Tamuks needed to get accustomed to it. So what we're doing right now is we went ahead and just left everyone out. And there is a male of the Californians. One of the 6 Californians we got is a male. The rest are all female. And we purposely put a male in here to assist and teach Two-Face not to fight. Even though he is a male, he needs to learn not to be fighting. So this is a learning experience for them. We also did make some modifications. You can see we kind of broke down the feeder right here. It's empty, nothing in it. And we actually moved their dishes down over here and here. It's been raining a lot, so ultimately what we're trying to do is we're just trying to keep the feed. Like, we went through a lot of wasteful feed, and we did feed that to the chickens and in the compost piles, but it still cost us money to essentially pay for all that. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to leave this. It is Friday, and then Saturday we're going to choose one. So my partner and some of my friends that will be assisting us in future butchering have never butchered rabbits. So what we'll be doing is Saturday we'll be inviting the friends that generally help us, and also my partner will be here, and we will butcher one rabbit. We'll find preferably the male starting out, Californian, and we will butcher the male. So once we find the male, if it ends up all being females of the Californians we got, we'll find the smallest female. We'll weigh them actually, and we will find the smallest female, and we will butcher her. Once we kind of get all that squared away, we will, like I said, we'll just teach everyone how to butcher. We've also found some things, we've learned some things, what to do with the entrails, and so it's gonna be pretty exciting. And we're gonna do, probably not this Saturday when we butcher, we won't do a video, but once we butcher again and everyone's got accustomed to it, and I've finished teaching everyone there, we're going to go ahead and do a video on how to butcher rabbits. So always, stay tuned for that. I'm not going to do any of the gory parts, but once we've culled the rabbit and move into the butchering, I'll go ahead and show you guys. We also have some chicken updates. So our chickens, we changed how we're going to do it. Every 3 weeks was a bit too much, so we started doing every 6 weeks. We have our 4 compost piles still going, still feeding strong. And then we also have, I need to give y'all some water. Y'all knocked it over. So we're still going to just be using this brooder if we can, especially as it gets warmer. We're going to keep 1 set on the ground, at least 2 sets on the ground, and our hens have been laying. So, and it kind of works out. Because our big chickens don't like to use our big sewage pipe automated feeder, but the little chickens love it. So, whatever works, if it fits, it ships. And these are hot compost piles. They don't look it, but I can actually get the pitchfork. We are still using the tub brooder, but we're only using it when it's cold, because if it's not too cold, like once it warms up a little bit, we'll really not have any like major reason to use the tub brooder. The tub brooder just helps kind of buffer it for a few weeks if it's been too cold before we put them into the outdoor. So we have this one here. Of course, it's been raining and cold, and I don't know if y'all can see that, kind of steamy. I'll try a different one. I just loaded this with some peas, frozen peas and stuff. Yeah, you can see a little bit there. This is our 3rd pile. And a little bit. And then our last pile over here, it's just big enough to start heating up. There you go, there's some. For those of you that don't remember, we are still running our aquaculture. I can show you guys that now. We chose to still run it because we're cycling it. We're gonna let it kind of balance for a year or so, and give me some time to set up some aquaculture plants. Maybe get a couple sales in. You can see it doesn't. I know you can't smell it, but it doesn't smell like it used to. And it's definitely operating a lot better. One of them isn't pumping. That's fine. I'll check on it later. But yeah, so this is fully operational, running like a champ. I haven't had too many complaints or issues with it. We are, like I said, we're going to bypass this barrel and turn it to a biofilter or something, but we'll deal with that later. Our worm bin is still going. I haven't really seen the worms lately, but we have been feeding it. As you can see, we have been feeding. And I've also taken some of our potatoes that I've been getting for free and just trying to let the eyes grow out. And we're going to be planting them as seed potatoes soon enough. Let's see if we can find some worms for you guys. Not seeing any. It looks good. Yeah. They must be burrowed down in there, but we are going to add a bit later on. We're going to go ahead and spend the cash and actually get some more. I've been taking some of the hot compost and sprinkling it on here just to kind of help them have a little bit better food source and more mulch in their little setup. And of course, we've also done some inner planting. I don't remember if I've done a video on this yet. Some moringa tree. The chickens kind of ate the outside, so it's growing some new leaves. Good morning, Mr. Fred. We also have a peach tree, an extra peach tree down over here. And we're thinking about eventually we want to kind of grow like a small nursery, just because we want the trees, but we don't want to hold on to the seeds. I'd like to at least sell the seeds to get our money back for the seeds or the seedlings. Our goji berry and our first iteration of a little garden, but we'll get to that later. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It's nothing too crazy. We do still have some work that needs to be done, but nothing like that I would be all too concerned about. It's actually going pretty good. Ooh, all the rabbits are off. Let's see. Mr. Fred, please stop. Mr. Fred is in a mood this morning. Let's see if y'all can see that. Like, they're climbing and playing. Let's see. And that is another thing, guys. Like, your roosters are ultimately, they're going to be grumpy most days. There you go. They're just playing. Doing what rabbits do. Living the good life. So that way, I've also put some experimental supplemental feed. I'll actually show you that's what this guy's chewing on. That is actually red wheat that we seeded this entire area with, and I mean, it is very prominent. All the little green that you see them eating on the ground, that's actually what they're eating. Yeah, see? So that way they can dig and play. We have been having issues with breeding. From what we've seen, Two-Face has not really tried to mount much, mostly just display dominance. That's the other reason that we left a male in here, so that way we can figure out, because if Two-Face ultimately decides not to breed, we're going to keep a Californian buck. So we'll figure that out as the time comes. They have also been, like, the pallets have been like a godsend, because they actually like to crawl under them. So we're going to be doing some modifications later on. And then these Christmas trees as well that are just zip tied at the top, we're going to be adding another one over here because they love that thing. So that just tells me that was a great little invention we did. So if y'all have an opportunity, hit up a local nursery at the end of, like, right after Christmas, and if they're going to throw it out, just be like, no, I'll take them all, and your rabbits will thank you. We have been having another issue I haven't quite figured out, but ultimately, hey Pippets, you can see the eggs back over here. For some reason, our hens have been laying over there and over here where they normally lay. I think it's the bedding material that we got. This new bedding material is, like, really coarse. It's not as fine as some of the other stuff. So I think that's why they've been laying over here, because it's a little bit, like, softer, but we'll figure it out as the time comes. And then on our chicken feed here, so we started mixing our own feed, and it's been really interesting. So I read up that diatomaceous earth, I call it dichotomous earth, I don't know why, but it's normally, but I get this diatomaceous earth. We're going to be getting a bigger bag. This is just like our experimentation stuff. But I take a sunflower scratch. So there's corn. Let's take it over here so that way they'll dig around. There is corn, but it's got more of that milo and sunflower in it. I don't know if there's any beans. I think it's just milo, sunflower, and corn. But regardless, the chickens do pretty good on it. It's not like too much corn. And then what I'll do is I got this scoop back here. So for every one of these big, and I mean full scoops, let's see if we can, like a full scoop, for every one of these, I'll put a handful of this diatomaceous earth here. And that seems to be enough calcium for our hens to lay fairly regularly. Kind of save us on, having to buy one feed and then turn around and buy another feed, because ultimately between the rabbits, the fish, and the chickens, if we had to do a layer feed, that would be 3 feeds for the chicken, a feed for the rabbit, and a feed for the fish, and that's not including any of our alternative feeds that we also do. And the other thing I like is we already have diatomaceous earth. We have a dust bath here, and I gotta come redo it, but this is also our dust bath for the rabbits, which they play in. They get rid of all their fleas and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and if y'all get a chance, I strongly recommend you try the diatomaceous earth, because it's really easy to mix in. It coats it so that way it is a calcium supplementation for them. It's something that they can readily absorb, and it's not as inefficient as layer feed, because the scratch, if it gets wet, is still good. I mean, I don't leave it in the feeder, but the chickens still eat it. They still use it. It's not that big of a deal. Another thing we've learned lately, let's see if we can show you guys. So these are just some standard fishing nets, and these are a godsend if you're going to be a small-time homesteader. Get one. You're not going to regret it. It's for catching animals. So earlier, when I was talking to you guys and, telling Mr. Fred to relax, he gets a little grumpy with me, and he will try to attack. It happens. But as you can see, he don't like the net. And when he gets grumpy, oh, let's see if we can do it. Come on, Mr. Fred. Come on. There we go. When he gets grumpy, he goes into timeout. In timeout, we're not going to hurt him or anything, but they have like this prey defense. So what's going to happen is he's going to fight it for a little bit. So we can turn it. There we go. And then he's going to relax. And I'll talk to him. Mr. Fred, you were being rude. Yeah, you were being rude. You need to relax. And then as soon as he's relaxed, we just set it down and he goes. And generally, this seems to be working. He still gets grumpy, but it's not as bad. And the girls, they all know what it means. But when you're trying to catch rabbits and you're trying to catch chickens and all these small animals, it really does help save the day. So, and also we have our aquaculture, so I can use the netting for all of that. So like when I was over here a minute ago, Mr. Fred was not letting me walk around. He was attacking the pitchfork. So for his safety and our safety and everything else, we like to use the net. So that way it's like we know for a fact if the kids want to come play in here, we can be like, okay, just take the net with you in case Mr. Fred gets grumpy. Everybody wins, the kids feel safe. We haven't really had any issues with him attacking the kids yet. When my partner's like sisters or when my son comes out, haven't had too many issues with it, but I would definitely say this is a godsend right here. And believe it or not, we only got these because if you've seen some of our older videos, we had some game birds and we needed a way of catching them because they were living wild, so they were just free roam. No clipped wings, nothing. So we had to catch all those birds, and that's how we ended up with the nets. And like I said, it has been an absolute savior. Another thing, sorry to jump around on you guys. We're just trying to do an update since it's been a little bit. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is, yes, the rabbits do dig, but those of you that remember, there is wire on the ground. Now, there is an area over, it's gonna be over there, back, and it's like the center, all the way in the center, like of it. Like, so if you went the center this way, like the center that way, like it's dead center. The wire, I don't think let me see if we have any extra, but essentially what it is, I think it's like is it a pig or a goat panel or something? It's where the grid or the squares on the top is very large, and then as you go to the bottom, they get kind of smaller and smaller and smaller. And what that is, oh no, that's the 2x4. And what that is so whenever I was laying it, there are sections ultimately that they can dig into. So I just went and added some. Ooh, is there any? Oh no, there's none left. Okay. Essentially the rabbits did kind of dig into it originally, so I took some of these bricks that we have and I kind of broke them to like little pieces. Let's see if I have any more pieces over here. Probably not. Oh, just enough. Something like this. I may even break this in half, and you just kind of put it in their hole, rebury the hole, like, put a couple of them. Oh, I got another one over here. Another one like this. Yeah, you just put it in the hole, rebury the hole, and they'll leave it alone. They tend to not get too upset with it. And it's been working pretty well, keeping them all in. Like I said, we have 8 now. Even though we added 5 last night, they're still very happy. And we'll slowly cull them over time. because like I said, we want our rabbits to be very accustomed to a colony life. Our garden has been doing pretty good, but there are a couple of notes that we want to do different next year. Next year we want to seed much earlier. The problem with what we've been doing is that ultimately these plants should have been this size prior to the freezing that happened in fall. The onions, pretty happy with. I didn't really lose too many. We have quite a few. But when we got that major freeze in December, we lost a lot of this stuff over here that I wasn't able to cover. Another thing I wanted to touch on is our sun bubble. When it got cold, so what we've learned over the last 2-3 years of me using this thing is that, I think it's been about 2 years, winter gardens are going to be different. Can we grow watermelons and stuff? Yes, but for our capabilities and the size of our greenhouse, it's not feasible to try and grow a watermelon in winter. It's just not. In fall, or after, freezing in fall. So what we're going to try to do is actually start using it for our trees and bushes. And I want to eventually start seeding and growing our own trees to where they're much healthier and established whenever we, get set. I mean, we already do have some trees, but we do have some more that we want to get. And we also eventually want to do what's called a bare root sale. So essentially it's just the plant with the bare roots. There's no potted plant, which saves us money, and that makes it cheaper for the consumer, as a way of getting seeds for ourselves, and then hopefully just enough to pay for the seeds. And if we do make extra, it'll just cover feed costs or something like that. We don't want to make too much money, but we do want to make at least enough to be a little more self-sustaining. That's pretty much it for right now. I think we're going to be getting a mulcher in the next month or so. If and when we do, we will definitely be doing a video on that. Another quick note is that generally with the new seed starting that I've been doing, and if you haven't seen it, go check out my shorts, the short videos. There's one on there. It's amazing. Our nursery has been bare. No plants, and it's because we don't really need it anymore. All of our seeding is mostly being done inside. There may be some, for like fall, or if we do another batch in summer or something, but I'm not too sure. I guess I could show you guys inside the greenhouse. I'm not too terribly sure like what we're going to end up doing, just because what we're doing for spring right now has already turned out so well. Let's see if we can show you guys in here. You see some more onions and stuff, and it's cold, guys. So nice and warm in here, nice and toasty. Dragon fruit's doing okay, and you can see like basically the trees and the shrubs did better. The rest of these pots, like the tomatoes and stuff, they're gone. These guys are doing wonderful here. Aloe doing great. An almond tree, sucker is huge. It was dead when we got it. All of this stuff pretty much died. I did transplant one tomato that lived, but it's probably too far gone. And then, look, this is all one batch out of our seed starting. That's one batch. That's interesting. What's going on here? It's extra white, and I don't know why. But yeah, so these are all kinds of different plants. I think there's at least 12 different plants in here, and there's at least 4 of each, give or take, and we still have more coming. And this is just our first batch. So like I said, trees are great. These bad boys are going to get planted for spring, and then we have some smaller ones that I'm probably going to try to grow and sell. Our tobacco made it pretty decent. Like I said, the rest of it just kind of not so good. But, live, learn. It's part of what we do here. So, yeah, I'd say that's pretty much where we stand right now. And like I said, whenever we get the tree set up, which I'm hoping will be in the next month or two. We're going to do a video on that because if y'all haven't seen, go check out Edible Acres. I'll try and link their stuff in the comments. I'm not affiliated or anything, but I just love their stuff. They're very calm and definitely an inspiration for me. That's where I altered the way we did our chicken composting, because we'd already been doing composting for those of you that have been on this channel for a while, but we kind of altered how we did it because I liked the Edible Acre setup. Again, we're not a nursery, so we're not going to get as large as them, but it's a scalable operation, which is very hard to find and I really enjoy. So as always, peace, be kind out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and we'll see you guys in the next video.